I'm glad you bring that up because of the apathy that we've talked about on democracy-ish. The fact that young people are pissed off. The fact that, the right wing is going after black men and Latino men over machismo, fear of LGBTQ, fear of feminism, right? Every community has their ice cubes, folks. It's not just a black community. We got the Vivek Ramaswamis. I've talked about it within Muslim and South Asian communities. But you have to also remember the consequences, right? It's not just the president. The next president will most likely appoint a Supreme Court justice or two, right? That can radically and will radically shift this thing called democracy in America, whether we have it or if we don't. Who has rights and who doesn't? Free speech, First Amendment, assembly, right? Which religion is favored? Which religion isn't? How about people who don't have a religion? Let me tell you which religion will be favored. White Christian nationalism, folks. See, if you ain't a white Christian nationalist, get in line because you're going to be number 2 for the rest of your life. You're going to have to bend the knee. Is that the type of country you want? You want a Christian theocracy? Well, then sign up for these right-wing Christian justices wearing black robes, because openly, if you listen to them, Alito and others, that's their mindset, right? They want a white Christian nationalist nation. So we're seeing now the hypocrisy also, Danielle. It's just the stunning hypocrisy. And what really bothers me, and I've used this analogy before, is you see that Peanuts cartoon where Charlie Brown is playing football with Lucy, and Lucy, he sits there and giggling at the camera, and Charlie Brown goes, "Okay, Lucy, this time you're not going to lift up the football." And Lucy goes, no. Charlie Brown, with a smile on his face, runs, trusting Lucy, and what happens?
Lifting up the football.
And Charlie Brown falls down on his ass. That is every single institution that has failed to learn in the past 8 years that we're not dealing with good faith actors. These people are bad faith actors, openly telling you their plot, calling media members enemy of the people. They want to use a Trojan horse to get in and then bring it all down and punish the rest of us. But no, we have to do both sides. And still, we try to hold these people in good faith. And going back, who gets the right to protest? Who gets the right to free speech? All these folks, Danielle, if you've been paying attention, the right-wing folks, First Amendment, free speech defenders, F your safe spaces, facts don't care about your feelings, forget political correctness. We're all about free speech until you say Black Lives Matter. We're all about free speech until you advocate for Palestinians. And lo and behold, case in point, I feel like the universe just gave us so many examples this week. What's happening in USC, Danielle?
So, you have a wonderful valedictorian that was named, who you tell me her name because it escapes me right now.
Asna Tabassum.
And she wears a hijab, right? And, in most universities, the valedictorian gets to do what? Make a speech, right? At graduation, elected, by their peers and what have you. You earn this right through your study and your dedication and all of these things. Well, she did. And USC, because apparently any woman who wears a hijab, any person who has brown skin, anybody who practices their faith outwardly, so long as that faith is Christianity, everyone else is deemed dangerous. And so the distinct honor to address her fellow graduating class was ripped away from her because of the concern that she may, in fact, I guess, maybe her hijab speaks for itself. I don't know.
Security concerns, quote, security concerns, which were never, ever expressed. And when she asked, well, what security concerns? What evidence of security concerns? Who has threatened you? What's happened? Oh, we can't divulge it. So they have canceled her over, quote unquote, security concerns without articulating any example of a security concern. But now, as the story is evolving, what we're learning is that pressure was being put on USC by certain donors and individuals and community members because they found posts that she did, posts that were critical of Israel. And she is pro-Palestinian. And she has minored in USC. You know what her minor was? resistance to genocide. So the U.S. Shoah Foundation apparently has this minor. She took the minor, resistance to genocide, and she is very critical about the state of Israel. And we don't know, again, what was in her speech. We don't know if she was going to mention the genocide, occupation, Israel, Palestine. We have no idea. They didn't read her speech. But because of security concerns, quote unquote, but really, honestly, Danielle, because of some posts that were flagged, she's out. And I have not heard any free speech or right-wing conservative, Ben Shapiro come out in defense of her. I wonder why.
It's just, we spend so much time bringing attention to the hypocrisy because it is necessary, but it's also just really exhausting because these people are never going to change. They are who they are. And I am just wondering if, in fact, we have the rest of us that live on Earth One have become so numb and so jaded and so hollowed out by their oppression that we don't have the desire to organize and protest, that we don't have the desire to honestly, you want to talk about finishing the job. Finishing the job would be making sure that Donald Trump is not elected in 2024 to finish off the Republican Party and MAGA. Why do I say that? Because this is Donald Trump's Hail fucking Mary.
That's right.
This election. And if he wins, then every single case against him magically goes away. He can continue to grift off of this country, hollow it out, break it apart, and sell it for pieces to the highest bidder, right? That's the plan. And so they're telling us the plan. We know the plan. And so we tell you about the hypocrisies because we want you to see very clearly that they're not hiding who they are. So it's up to the rest of us to decide how we're going to act, what we are going to do, because I'm telling you folks, the courts ain't gonna fucking save us, right? We just started off by telling you exactly what it is the courts are doing and exactly whose pocket they are in. So the last bit of defense that we have, Waj, is to vote.
I agree. And it's I think Karen Attiah said this on Twitter, I think yesterday. She is a columnist at the Washington Post, daughter of, I think, African immigrants, former, she grew up in the church also in the South. So she knows this world inside out. And she said, she was talking about Black people in general. She says, it's very similar to what you were saying. You can't rely upon the state, can't rely upon liberal institutions. Specifically, these liberal institutions have failed us. And she pointed to the crushing of dissent when it comes to voicing, any pro-Palestinian sentiment. She said the academic institution that failed us, corporate institution that failed us, Hollywood institutions that failed us, elected officials are failing us, right? I don't know if you saw this week, apparently you can't say from the river to the sea anymore. It's seen as an anti-Semitic statement. Right now, as we're talking about this, there's hearings in Congress grilling Columbia's university's professor. Republicans are saying, what are you doing to crack down on anti-Semitism? Which is hilarious considering that they traffic and promote anti-Semitic conspiracies. I mean, it's just remarkable. Go and fire these pro-Palestinian professors. But let us talk about the replacement theory that has radicalized terrorists to commit violence against Jews, Black people, and Muslims. No one's going to talk about that, right? And so she was saying, we just got to take care of ourselves. We have to,
yes.
She says, you don't be surprised if Black folks, and I'm paraphrasing, she's expressed this on social media before, don't be surprised if people are getting more insular. She's talking about conversations she's had with Black folks. We can't trust anyone. We're going to take care of ourselves, and we're going to do our best to survive. So you're going to see two things happening, I think. Number one, our communities realize, we're dealing with white supremacy on crack, on Red Bull. They're going for all the marbles. Like I have warned, and you have warned publicly on television, and oftentimes people looked at us like we were crazy. But like we've said before, our battering average is really good. Secondly, the way you defeat Trumpism is, I think several steps. Take care of your mental health, take care of your spiritual health, take care of your family, take care of your community, make sure you're getting fed, help each other out, use whatever resources you can to resist. And I think what we're witnessing right now, like speaking of Columbia University, what's happening today? Nonviolent protests. Students are protesting and they shut down the university. That's going to happen more and more, Danielle, which is why, bringing everything back full circle, why do you think that Supreme Court said, yeah, go ahead, these 3 states, and crack down on these black folks and their allies who are peacefully protesting for BLM? So you're going to see more civil disobedience. And the one tool that we have is that we can actually defeat Trumpism, or this iteration of Trumpism, in a few months at the ballot box. Or if not, at least defeat it, severely weaken it, Danielle, or keep it at bay for the next 4 years. And I think if we do defeat him at the ballot box, I think this dude will be too old. And I think once he dies, you'll see the movement kind of splinter, which is fine by me, because then it'll weaken. You'll see divide and conquer, which is already happening in the MAGA Republican movement. They're trying to impeach Mike Johnson, another huge story we didn't talk about because there's so much friggin' chaos. But I feel like that'll be a huge win for democracy if we vote and defeat him in a couple of months. It will weaken him and the movement.